Hey you guys, it's Kaylee. I'm back with another what sold from last week video. Things are nuts here. I have a lot of new endeavors. I am so excited to share those with you. I actually don't know if this video is going to go live before or after those endeavors launch and I tell you guys what they are, but I'm super duper excited. But with that being said, I have been working really hard to keep up with what I'm currently doing in my reselling business. So right now I'm just kind of maintaining where we're at. I am not trying to, grow super quickly for the next several months, just because, like I said, got a lot of new things that I've got my hands in. I want to make sure to give enough dedicated time to everything. I don't want to half work anything. So right now I'm just maintaining and it's going pretty well. Actually slightly reduced the amount of items that we are listing. And it hasn't been bad. I haven't seen a dramatic dip in sales. Thank you, Q4. It's probably because it's Q4 that it's just kind of hanging me in there. Yeah, sales have been pretty good. Still selling some pretty high quality items. So let's dive into those sales. All right, you guys, we have a lot to go through. I really tried to slim it down, but there was just so much good stuff, like good brands, good factors, things I think you've never heard about, that I just wanted to share with you. So I'm going to go pretty quickly. There is a ton of information. You might have to pause the video, come back later, watch the rest of it, or just get your notebook, sit down through the whole thing, but tons of stuff to show you guys today. So this is for November 26th through December 2nd. And in total, I sold 241 items between two platforms, which were eBay and Poshmark. My total gross item sales was almost $8,000, $7,983.11, making my average sale price for just the items $33.12. So pretty good week for me. Love being at that 8,000 mark. I think that hopefully will be our new average, but we still continue to have ups and downs depending on, certain seasons or around the holidays when people aren't really shopping and things like that. So good split between eBay and Poshmark. I'm not going to talk about that too much. I am just going to dive into it. But I will say that our average sale price on eBay was a little over $37. And that is a really good sign for us because we want to get close to $40 average sale price by the end of the year. If I don't achieve that, that's fine. I'm going to keep plugging along until we do achieve it before moving on to some other goals. But I am hoping to be close to it by the end of the year. All right, let's dive into the sales. Okay, this was probably my best sale. And it was also the one I paid the most for, but I did profit quite a bit off of it, and it was a super quick flip. If you guys are on my Instagram, you might have seen kind of a sneak peek of this. I did a post where I said something like, listing is so much easier when they're all bolos, and I had a couple things lined up. This was one of those pieces. So if you guys didn't know, this is an absolute 100% bolo, has been for a long time, and I think will continue to be. And they are Kuji 3D knit sweaters. They have to be 3D knit. So Kuji is like a Y2K brand, and they used to make these sweaters that have basically multicolored raised texture to it. I don't know how else to explain it. You'll just have to use your eyes and hopefully one day feel one so you know what I'm talking about. But multicolor, sometimes they're like neutrals, like browns and tans, but the multicolor ones do better. I would still get any color. I don't care if it was really drabby, super dark colors. If it's 3D knit, I would get it because they sell for hundreds. Also, if you ever find any brand, even if it's not Kuji, with 3D knit like this, I would just grab it. Usually in off brands, you can still get like $40 all the way up to maybe $100 for 3D knit stuff. But you got to put 3D knit in your title to sell it. And then you can see some other keywords I used as well. But this was a really great find. I found this at a consignment-ish store where things are usually priced up. But I don't think the people, either they didn't know what they were doing with it and they just didn't want to wait for it to sell, or they didn't know how valuable these were because they only marked it for $65, which I know might sound like a lot to some people, but when they sell quickly, like overnight for hundreds of dollars, that is a really good deal on a Coogee 3D knit sweater. So I picked this one up for $65. Very happy to do so. I listed this one at $250, and I probably could have even listed it way higher and accepted best offer, but I priced what I felt was fair and was going to get it to move quickly. And this one took 7 days to sell, a week. So really quick flip, for my full asking price of $250. I can't remember how much I profited off of that, but it was definitely a lot of money. I made my money back and then a lot more. So this is an absolute bolo. I would definitely keep your eye out for it. And, you want to be cautious when paying up for things, but if the data is there that it's going to sell quickly and sell for really good money, I would absolutely take the chance on something like this. All right, next up is another item I paid a little bit up for, but knew that it would sell for quite a bit and quickly. This one took about a month to sell. This is a Coach Women's Legacy leather backpack. Anything Coach that looks very like neutral, plain, high quality leather, those are the styles that I'm looking for. They sell really, really well. The like monogram stuff doesn't perform as good for me anymore, or like the bright in your face colors, they just don't perform as well. But the neutral high quality leather, kind of like think minimalist capsule wardrobe, those are the things that perform extremely well. I paid $25 for this backpack and knew that I would sell it probably close to $100. So that is what I listed it for, $100. It did have a tiny bit of wear throughout. And I ended up accepting an offer or sending out an offer to Watcher for $85, and the buyer accepted. So $25 into $85, another pretty quick but high ASP flip. All right, this next one is a label I thought you guys would want to know about if you don't already. This is a Ralph Lauren men's blazer. This, however, is their black label, and Ralph Lauren has a couple different lines within it, and they also have different labels within those lines sometimes. The ones you probably want to know about are the black label and the purple label, and later on in the video I do have a purple label to show you as well. So if you have something like this, it is good to go ahead and put black label into your title. This one also had some ornate buttons, which I definitely think helped to increase value, but black label is the main thing that elevated this blazer. So this one I picked up for $15. We listed it for $125 or best offer, just to let the market decide. Things are kind of all over the place for something like this. And it ended up selling for $75 on eBay. Sorry, I had a couple of blazers in my solds. I was trying to make sure it was the right one. So great sale here, and this one did take a couple of months to sell, which is pretty true for, I think, a lot of higher end Ralph Lauren items. All right, this is another Ralph Lauren item. This is Polo by Ralph Lauren. It is a vintage men's denim jacket. This is also an absolute bolo. Couple things with this one. It's vintage, just a little bit harder to find. It's a denim jacket, outerwear people are looking for. And then this specific style is a trucker jacket, which is really trendy right now. So it had a ton going for it. It was also flannel lined, and it had a contrast corduroy collar, which corduroy is really popular right now. So if you see a corduroy collar, it might also increase the value of your item. So those are all just little things adding, dollar amounts in my head. This one also sold really quickly. We paid $14 for it, listed it for $100. It did have a couple of issues with it, but it ended up selling on an offer to Watcher for $85. 15 into 85. I'll take those profits all day long, but definite bolo. Keep your eye out for Polo Ralph Lauren men's denim jackets, especially the vintage ones. All right, here's another jacket brand that you definitely want to be on the lookout for right now. Carhartt is really popular again. Do not go pick up all the Carhartt t-shirts. Don't go pick up everything Carhartt, but the Carhartt jackets are doing really, really well. I feel like they never stop doing well, but they're just really, really trendy right now. Sell-through rate is really, really high. Even if you find them with a couple of flaws or possibly even completely distressed, that's like the look people are going for right now. So people are buying these for style, not necessarily to actually work in. So something to keep your eye out for. I paid $20 for this, knowing that it would flip pretty quickly and sell for a lot. So again, paying up to flip into higher amounts is something I'm totally okay with if the data is there. So this is a men's size large green kind of canvasy barn coat. Like I said, I paid $20. I listed it for $85. It sold for my full asking price. And let's see, this took about, I listed it on the 17th. It sold on the 29th. What is that? That's almost 2 weeks. So pretty quick flip on that one. All right, next up is another high sales. Kind of surprising, honestly. I do like picking up Chico's maxi dresses. However, I don't normally get the lower sizes. This is a Chico size 0, which is a 4.6 US. However, this one was new with tags, so despite it being a smaller size, I picked it up because it was new with tags, and it was just a very on-trend style. You can see this retails for quite a bit, $150. Had all the information there for me. It was kind of gauzy, it was tiered, all good things. So for that reason, we still got it. We listed this for $80. It did take, let's see, this took several months to sell, but it did end up selling for our full asking price of $80, which is crazy for Chico's. So if all the factors are there and the stars align, I do think there is some value in this brand. All right, same thing with Anthropologie. I don't hold a lot of weight in smaller size Anthropologie pieces anymore. I really have to look up the exact style, but whenever I find it new with tags in Anthropologie brands holds a lot of weight for me. So I found this Daily Practice Anthropologie kind of sweatshirt dress. I picked this up, paid up for it because it was new with tags, paid $15 for it, listed it for $75. It did take a few months to sell, but it sold for my full asking price. So this is just my strategy, but again, I try to stick to the larger sizes in Anthropologie, Free People, things like that. Size large and up perform extremely well for me in those brands. But if it's smaller and it's new with tags, like I said, new with tags does hold a lot of weight for me in these brands. All right, next up is a bolo you guys should be on the lookout for. It is the brand Nili Lotan. And specifically these like military pants perform really, really well. And they kind of have like breaks in the fabric, different seams, kind of gives it like a double knee look. These are a very, very popular style. This one ended up having a few spots, so I did have to keep that in mind as far as the price goes. I paid $5 for these, and they sold for my full asking price of $75. These ones also took several months to sell. Here is Free People. We were just talking about this brand. A reminder that Free People and Anthropologie in larger sizes perform extremely well, in my opinion, in everything. Like if it was size large and up, I'm picking it up because it performs really well for me. Obviously, do your own comps and research. This one was definite factor stacking bolo though. It was a size extra large. It was a maxi length dress. It had wrap details. It was long sleeve, like all the good things. We paid $6 for this, listed it for $65. The style was called the Alyssa Maxi Wrap Dress. It sold for our full asking price of $65. Just again, reiterating, larger sizes and Free People perform really well for us. All right, here is a style I would absolutely keep your eye out for during this time of the year. They are fisherman sweaters. The keyword fisherman just comes from it having all over chunky cable knit details, like all over. You can see it's on the back too. It could be like brighter colors, but typically they are neutral, and the best color in my opinion are these ivory ones. So this is by the brand Polo Ralph Lauren, which is a good brand to pick up in fisherman sweaters. But I would say honestly, if you found really any fisherman sweater that was high quality and you put that keyword fisherman in your title, you're probably going to sell it. So this one we paid $5 for. It was a men's size medium, listed it for $60. It sold on an offer to Watcher for $51, and this one only took a few days to sell. Here's another Ralph Lauren item. This one's the purple label that I was talking about. So this is another label that increases value in Ralph Lauren items. So if you find like a black label or a purple label, you want to do your comps with that in your search. So Ralph Lauren purple label, men's pants, stuff like that. If you don't include that, you're going to get a lot of mixed results and you won't know to increase the price. This one was new with defects. So it was new with tags. However, there were multiple spots on the legs that we couldn't get out because we didn't want to remove the new with tags. We paid $6.50 for it, listed it for $60. They were called the Harrison pants, and they were also a larger size, which in Ralph Lauren men's department, larger size holds a lot of value as well. So listed it for $60. It sold for our full asking price, and this sold within just a couple of days of being listed. So I do think we priced it right given what condition it was in. And you figure somebody's going to get this, cut off the tags, and wash it themselves, and it'll be good to go. All right, next up is a designer brand. It is Tory Burch. This is their line Tory Sport. I am having to be a little bit more picky with Tory Burch lately. They don't sell as well as they used to. However, this is a category that seems to be pretty popular right now, a style that is popular, which is teddy material, teddy coats, which is basically like a really thick, kind of like fleecy Sherpa. It kind of gives it that teddy bear texture. So teddy, T-E-D-D-Y, can be a really great keyword to use in something like this. So this one was a full zip teddy coat jacket. It did have a couple of spots, but we listed it for $60 and it sold for full asking price. All right, next up is something I would definitely keep your eye out for. It is Gore-Tex. This is a specific type of like material, I guess I would call it. Sometimes this brand is just sold as itself, like this jacket is, and then other times it's paired with other things. So like, I'm trying to think, I think maybe North Face sometimes has Gore-Tex stuff, or LL Bean, where they use their Gore-Tex fabric. But if you have it, it definitely can increase the value, and you will want to include that in your title. To my knowledge, I think they're kind of like waterproofy stuff, like just really heavy duty utility gear. This one was a Gore-Tex military jacket in a cool camo. I think we no, I guess that is green. I was going to say we put green in the title. This looks blue to me, but I guess there is green in the background. We paid $15 for this, listed it for $45 because it did end up having a couple of spots, and it sold for full asking price. Had it not had those spots, probably would have listed it, closer to maybe like $65, $75, but great sale, and again, a condition that a buyer was happy with and we didn't have to put a whole lot of effort into. All right, this is the brand Vineyard Vines. This brand doesn't perform super well for me except in fall and winter, and I usually have to pair it with some pretty good materials. In this case, this is a men's pullover sweater, and it had merino wool and alpaca in it, and it had really great prints. So prints like this right now are extremely popular. The Fair Isle, the Nordic, the Bird's Eye print, all of these patterns mixed together are really increasing value for this item. And especially if you have a good material like merino wool paired with this print, the combination of those two is really going to sell an item. I just looked up the difference between Nordic and Fair Isle because I was like questioning myself, and I learned that the difference, according to Google, was that the Fair Isle print usually has more than 2 colors. So this one definitely has more than 2 colors in the print, and the Nordic typically has only 2. So take it for what it's worth, but the more colors, if it's super colorful, I guess it's Fair Isle. If not, it's Nordic. That's what Google told me. We took this item that had slate pilling. We listed it for $50. It did sell for our full asking price. And this one took about a week to sell. All right, this next one is a brand, a bolo brand I think you guys should be on the lookout for. It is Wings and Horns. They make some really thick quality basics, but kind of like futuristic looking. They remind me of the brand Fear of God a little bit. So this is a cabin fleece hooded robe is what it was called. Although I think sometimes people just wear these as like long length hoodies. But that was the official style name, the cabin fleece hooded robe. This one was missing its belt, but somebody still purchased it. If it had its belt with it, I would have listed it higher, but it did not. So I listed it for $50. And it sold on an offer to Watcher for $42. And they make stuff other than sleepwear too. So just wings and horns, I would definitely keep your eye out for. It's a Bolo brand. Right, next up is a brand that performs pretty well during this time of the year. It is Burton. They are known for their snowboarding gear. I do think you need to try to pick up the more substantial snow gear pieces. Plain t-shirts don't perform that well, but their snow gear and ski stuff does. These are a pair of snowboarding pants in a men's size large, cargo, neutral color, lots of great factors there. Picked this up for $5, listed it for $50, and it did sell for full asking price. All right, this is a Bolo designer brand. However, this does not always sell very quickly. Sometimes you have to sit on it, but in my opinion, it is worth it. This is St. John by Marie Gray. And the thing that you want to look for is their Santana knit material, which I'm trying to get up close so you guys can see it. This is their Santana knit material. I think you really have to feel it in person to know what it is, but this is my best representation of it for you right now. It's like a really strong knit. So these pair of pants were also wide leg, high waisted. They were also like an ivory cream color, which is really trendy right now. We listed these for $50 and they did sell for a full asking price. All right, next up is a brand that used to perform so well and does not anymore, so I'm just trying to be really picky with it. This is Lafayette 148. They do still retail for a ton of money. They just do not resell as well. But I try to factor stack with this one. So this is a women's midi length office-y dress. You can see it has some beautiful, I don't know why that's not coming up, some beautiful like draping, pleating draping material here. Just a lot of movement here that really increased the value. And it was a size 14, so a larger size, midi length. For those reasons, I took a chance on this. We paid $6 and we listed it for $45. It was missing its original belt and it did sell for our full asking price. This one sold the same day. That is surprising to me. Maybe I should price it up a little bit higher. All right, next up is another kind of Bolo brand designer, but doesn't always have the best sell-through rate. This is Sandro Paris. This is a men's flannel button-up shirt. I've never found men's in this brand before, so I was excited to try it. But Sandro can be good depending on what you've got. I picked this up for $5, listed it for $50. It sold for our full asking price through an international sale through eBay's international program. This one did take a few months to sell. All right, next up, you guys know I've been loving selling blazers. I won't talk about this too much, but this is a J. Crew men's Ludlow blazer. J. Crew men's blazers and women's blazers in general perform really well. This is one of their more popular styles, Ludlow. I listed this for $50. It sold on an offer to Watcher for $42. This is Lululemon. I'm not going to go too much into this. I've been a lot pickier with Lululemon. I just wanted to show you this. I've showed you it before, but in case you are newer to the channel, these are the dance studio pants, and this style is like my best seller in Lululemon. They always flip super duper quickly. Like I never sit on it longer than a month. These ones sold in just a few weeks. Usually sometimes they sell overnight too. So this is just a style I'd keep your eye out for if you see something like this in Lululemon. These were an older label as well. I listed them for $55. They sold for our full asking price. All right, here's more of that like Fair Isle print again, and also this is Free People and it's a larger size large and up. just a reminder, Anthropologie Free People size large and up for me sell extremely well. This is also a really on-trend piece because it is wool, it is a sweater, and it's Fair Isle. So we listed this one a little bit higher for all of those factor stacking reasons. Listed it for $50. It did sell for our full asking price. This one took, let's see, I think about 2 months to sell. All right, here is another chunky knit cardigan. This one we could have used the keyword fisherman in it. Probably would have been a great keyword. See that all over cable knit. And it's really chunky. This one is by the brand Carigdon, which is made out of merino wool. I would definitely keep your eye out for this brand and pretty much any chunky wool sweaters made in Ireland. All of those brands perform really well right now during this time of the year. This one did take a few months to sell. We listed it for $45, but it did end up selling for our full asking price. All right, this is a newer brand to me. It is called Superhuman Streetwear by Volante Design, spelled out here if you need to read it. They make kind of like cosplay looking clothing, like costume looking clothing. I saw a lot of Assassin's Creed jackets that were going for like crazy amounts of money. I couldn't find much on just plain shirts like this, but I took a risk on it just because the comps look so good for the jackets, and I kind of had to make up a price. But I priced this shirt at $50, and it did sell for my full asking price. And let's see, this only took a couple of weeks to sell, so I'm absolutely going to keep my eye out for this brand in the future. All right, next up, I've mentioned it before, but cashmere holds a ton of value during this time of the year. So there are a lot of brands I'll pick up in cashmere that I don't normally get throughout the rest of the year. This would definitely be one of those cases. This is Club Monaco. This brand, it retails for a ton, but it does not resell very well. But in cashmere, it holds a lot of value. So this is a Club Monaco women's extra large cashmere hooded sweater, sleeveless. Picked this up for $5, listed it for $45. It did sell for our full asking price, although it did take a couple of months to sell. But if you see cashmere or anything, I would just look it up. Look it up with the brand, look it up with the size. I think you'd be surprised on some of the pieces that you could now get. All right, this is a brand I never get. It is Grace Karen, but this is a gorgeous all over sequin, kind of like ombre iridescent look to it. And you guys know all over sequins holds a lot of weight in my business because we just sell a lot of all over sequin stuff, so it increases the value a lot for me. This one was also new with tags. It was a dress, so a more substantial piece. So we definitely wanted to get this for factor stacking reasons. We listed this for $40. It did sell for a full asking price. It took a few months to sell, but I think it was totally worth it. All right, next up, a new brand to me. It is Oddbird. I would commit this to memory. This is a women's, I believe a women's robe, kind of like minimalist looking. I don't know. I need to look into this brand a little bit more. I just saw really good comps and I listed it. So we listed this robe for $40. It sold on an offer to watcher very quickly for $34. All right, next up is Eileen Fisher. I try not to show her too much because I feel like I've over talked about it, but some people are still having a hard time selling Eileen Fisher and kind of question why I bring it up as one of my best-selling brands all the time. You have to factor stack with this brand. If you find larger sizes, 1X, like any plus size in Eileen Fisher has an incredible sell-through rate. If you're going to go a size lower than plus size like this one is, then you have to factor stack with a good material. This one is a linen tunic top in a size extra large, so that is the reason we got this. I felt so confident that we actually paid $10 for this and listed it for $40. It did sell really quickly though. It took only a couple of weeks to sell for our full asking price of $40. So again, plus size 1X and up in Eileen Fisher, incredible sell-through rate. If you get anything smaller than that, pair it with a good material and I think you will see some success. All right, next up is an Athleta piece. Athleta is also a brand I've been a little bit more careful about lately, but I had a few Athleta sales this week and they were all like cozy wrap cardigans or sweaters. So I thought I would show these with you, just kind of what's trending in this brand. This was also a plus size, which definitely helped to sell it. This is called their Harmony Pose. I wonder if it says it here. No, we had to look up the style number on the tag, but the new ones actually say the style on this tag, so could be a good indicator of something. So we listed this one for $35. It did sell for our full asking price. This one only took a couple of weeks to sell, but stuff like this in Athleta right now is performing very well. Here's another example of that. This is a size extra large. It was called the Purana wrap sweatshirt. Kind of the same vibe, you know, super cozy, a little bit oversized. Listed this one for $35 as well, and it did sell for our full asking price. This one sold the next day. All right, this is a men's denim wear brand that can still perform well. They just don't sell for as much as they used to, so you kind of have to find it a little bit cheaper if you can. This is BKA. This is the Jake bootleg in a size 36 short. I listed this for $35. It did sell for our full asking price. This did take a couple of months to sell. All right, this is a newer brand to me. It is Young LA. Their stuff does not sell for a ton, but it does have a pretty good following. Their t-shirts usually sell for like $20 to $25, and they have a good sell-through rate. They make sweatshirts, pants, things like that. And like I said, have a pretty good following. So this is a Young LA men's hoodie, size small. We picked this up for $6.50, listed it for $30, and it did sell for our full asking price, despite missing the drawstring as well. All right, next up, this is a style-based pickup. This is a brand Crossroads. I wouldn't commit that to memory, but this is a men's vintage corduroy jacket, which holds a lot of value right now. Corduroy jackets, corduroy in general, is performing well. We listed this at $30. It did have some wear, and it sold for our full asking price. All right, this is Soft Surroundings. This is a velvet button-up tunic top in a size extra large. One thing I have learned about these more mature brands, things like Chico's, Soft Surroundings, I'm trying to think of some different ones like Susan Graver, all the mature brands, if they have velvet, it significantly increases the value of those items in those like mature brands. Velvet, not in everything is going to increase value, although most of the time it does, but specifically in the mature brands, it holds a lot of weight. So I guess I came to that realization recently, and I thought I would share that with you. So I always price up anything that is velvet in these more mature brands, and it's selling for us. So this is a Soft Surroundings, like I said, velvet button-up top, size extra large. Listed it for $40 because it had velvet on it. It sold within 3 days on an offer to watcher for $34. All right, next up, this is a brand that holds a lot of retail value, but not always resale value. And it does a lot better on Poshmark as well, although this one sold on eBay. I'm very, very picky with this brand, but sometimes it can perform well. It is Show Me Your Muumuu. This is a very like cottage core crochet tank top. I ended up looking up the style. It is called the Laguna crochet tank top. Very cottage core vibes. We actually use cottage core in our title, and I think that helped to sell this item. We listed it for $40. It sold in a couple of months for an offer to watcher of $34. This is one of my favorite athletic wear brands to sell. It is Vuori. This is what their logo looks like. I've heard some people getting like slaps on the wrist from the brand. I've never had that experience, and I don't think they're on the Vero list, so I'm not sure where that's coming from, but just wanted to make you guys aware of what I am hearing, but I've never had an issue with it. This is a pair of men's Vuori core shorts, and this brand holds a lot of value. It sells really quickly. I listed these shorts for $35. They did sell for our full asking price, and they sold the same day we listed them. All right, next up, this is Under Armour. This is a brand we did a deep dive on, although the style was not included. But I've been noticing a lot of newer style men's stuff that is selling well in larger sizes. So this is like a men's kind of like a shacket. This was actually called the Buckshot Fleece button-up jacket in a size 3XL. Had some pretty good comps on this, so I took a chance on it. This one I listed at $35. There was a small stain on the front, otherwise I might have gone a little higher. It ended up selling in about a month's time for an offer to watcher for $30. All right, this is kind of a random one. This is a new with tags travel pillow, and when I was offered this in wholesale, we were kind of like, I don't know, we don't normally sell stuff like this, but then we looked up the sell-through rate and we were like, wow, that's actually a really great sell-through rate. So the brand is TRTL. It's a travel pillow scarf. So you wrap it around your neck and then you can kind of lean on it. It has a little bit of a rigid thing on one side. And yeah, really great comps on this. So I thought I would mention it in case you ever come across it. We listed this for $30 plus shipping. It sold within just a couple of days for our full asking price. So that was a really easy sale. All right, next up, you guys know I love showing this brand. It is Old Navy. Now, I pretty much only get Old Navy plus size dresses in longer lengths, so it's very specific, but they're pretty easy to come across and I enjoy selling them. This is an extra large, very cottage core, again with the keyword in the title, women's dress. This thing was gorgeous. I priced this for $28. And it did sell for our full asking price. And this one sold within about, it was just slightly over a month, so not very long. But yeah, larger size Old Navy, plus size Old Navy, long length dresses. I'm telling you, they do well. All right, this one is something I took a risk on. This is our cover photo. Honestly, it should have been this. I found this at the bins and I went back and forth of whether to get it or not because it's a very older vintage Abercrombie and Fitch shirt that had like quite a bit of fading and wear to the graphic. But I was like, man, this just seems really on trend. It's got a dog on the back. Like, it's very Y2K. Let me give it a shot. It's at the bins. I'm glad I did because it actually sold within a week's time for an offer to watcher of $25, which is really good for a pre-owned t-shirt, especially one, that had cracking to the graphics. But I guess this is what people are looking for right now. So if you've got a good gut feeling about it, I would definitely get it. Abercrombie and Fitch Y2K stuff has really had a resurgence. So keep your eye out for that. All right, this is a brand, if you didn't know about it, that can perform really well. It is Icy by Connie K, specifically in larger sizes. This is a size 2X, so it's a plus size, kind of like a login look, but businessy brand is how I would describe it. And it performs extremely well for me. It retails for a ton. Like I said, plus sizes are where it's at on the sell-through rate, but sometimes I take risks on other things too. We listed this for $35. It's just a pretty lightweight open front like cardigan jacket. And it sold within about a month's time for $28 on an offer to watcher. Next up, this brand is also really popular, similar to like the Carhartt vibe. It's kind of like an outdoorsy kind of country brand that people are really into right now. It is Ariat. They do make shoes, but they also make clothing, and some of their clothing can do well. This is a men's quilted vest with the logo. It did have a small spot, so we priced it a little bit lower at $30, and it did sell for our full asking price within 3 days of listing. Here's another example of a brand I wouldn't normally get, but paired with cashmere can perform well. This is a Lands' End women's Argyle. That's what this diamond print is. Cashmere cardigan sweater in a size large, so lots of factor stacking. I added a few bucks for all of those factors, listed it at $35, and it sold within about a month for an offer to watcher of $30. Next up, this is a newer brand to me. It is Cami NYC. from what I can tell, they are known for their like silk pieces. This is a silk tank top. It kind of had that like eyelash lacy trim to it. And the Cami NYC tank tops perform really well, particularly on Poshmark. I listed this one for $35 and it did sell for my full asking price. So definitely a bolo brand in that specific category I would look for. And last one on eBay before we dive into Poshmark. This is a really surprising sale. I think a lot of people would not price Catherine's up this high, but Catherine's plus sizes can be really good. I've talked about this a lot. When you start getting into the 4X and 5X, the sell-through rate and value significantly increases. So because this was a 4X and it was a long length cardigan, we priced it up a little bit higher than everything else. We listed it for $30. It sold within about a month's time for our full asking price of $30, which $30 is a lot for Catherine's. Usually you can only get like $20-25 for it, but it will sell. But again, it's that 4X and 5X that sell really well. So it's important to know within a lot of these brands that are kind of bread and butter, at what threshold or at what factor does it push it into a higher ASP for you. Those are the things you want to start to learn. And this is one of those cases. All right, moving into Poshmark. This is an Armani Collezione. This used to be a huge bolo, not so much anymore. You really got to factor stack with some of these old school designer brands. But this one I thought I would mention to you because of this keyword, disco. This is a very popular trend right now, and the best way I can describe it is it's kind of like a men's somewhat sheer looking shirt, so you can kind of see the hanger through this. So it's kind of sheer. If you have something like that, I would put your keyword disco in the title, especially if it looks like a dressier shirt but it's kind of sheer. That will really help. And I think this is more of like a 70s 80s kind of look, which I think this is just my opinion, but I think that's what we are headed into. As far as like style trends go, I think people are going to move away from the 90s and go to like 70s 80s, just from my own research, what I've seen and what I'm hearing from other people. But disco, I feel like, is going to be a very popular keyword. So if you have anything like this, maybe consider putting that keyword in your title, because we've been using it quite a bit on stuff like this, and it has been selling very quickly. And then again, if you come across anything like this. So yeah, somewhat semi-sheer men's shirts. I've only really seen it used well in the men's department in the tops, but it's performing well. I sold this one for $51, which is crazy good for a pre-owned men's polo. All right, next up, this is Land's End again. Now, we talked about cashmere adding a lot of value before, but Land's End can sometimes perform well in plus size pieces, especially like seasonally trendy pieces. This is a knit zip sweater hoodie in a size 3X, so lots of factor stacking there. We listed this, I believe, for $35. Posh VA sends out offers automatically to my likers after I think 5 minutes, and I think that's where this sale came from. So this one ended up selling for $29, which is really good for Land's End. So keep your eye out for some Land's End plus size pieces. Again, you do have to factor stack. All right, this is also a brand that has been performing surprisingly well for me. It is Draper James. I do try to really heavily look up the style, but on Poshmark it's been performing really well, so I'm actually doing most of my comps for Draper James on Poshmark, which is surprising for me, I know. This is a velvet bow shoulder dress. It sold for $30 on Poshmark, which to me is really good because this is a smaller size and a size 2. All right, this is another brand that has had some surprising sales for me lately. It is Cobby. Their newer style pieces in larger sizes have been performing well. This is a size large tank top with a little bit of a scallop print to it. And it sold for $27. $27 on Poshmark. So definitely some value in this brand. I would try to stick to the larger sizes and the newer styles if I were you, but it has been performing well for us. All right, this is a newer brand to us. It is Finister, made in England. Very thick, canvasy men's pants. I could just tell from the touch of these and how thick they were that this was probably going to be a good brand. And they had some really great comps, so I would definitely commit this Bolo brand to memory. And honestly, anything that you see made in England, that's usually a good indicator of a good brand. A lot of really high quality pieces are made there. We listed this pretty high, I think at like $75. It ended up selling on an offer for $67. This is another brand in dresses that's still performing well for me. It is Tommy Bahama. I do try to stick to the larger sizes or the longer lengths. This one is a larger size, extra large. It is just knee length, but I think that larger size pulled it through, as well as the multicolor floral Tommy Bahama dress. This one I think I listed around 35 or 40 bucks. It sold for $31 on Poshmark. Here's another J. Crew Ludlow blazer. This one was also herringbone, so that's what this print is. I do think with blazers, it's important to put the print in it if you can, because it can hold a lot of weight. This one sold for $46 on Poshmark. I pulled this piece. It did not sell for a ton. It sold for 25 bucks. It's just an Anthropologie extra small petite, which is a really small weird size sweater. But I pulled this one because rainbow stripe and rainbow, like multicolor rainbow stuff in Anthropologie always sells very quickly for me, even if it's only, 25 bucks. It's good bread and butter. Also in Bowden, it also performs well in that. So if you see anything rainbow, consider getting it. We probably should have honestly put rainbow in the title, but stuff in those brands that has this aesthetic is performing well. All right, this is another brand that performs way better for me on Poshmark. Pilcrow by Anthropologie wide leg pants. All day long can get like 30 to 40 bucks for it on Poshmark and sells really well. Not so much on eBay, but I do get it knowing that it'll probably do well on Poshmark. So these are just a pair of wide leg jeans. I guess they were jeans. Yeah, they're jeans. Black jeans I've noticed are also performing well. And we included the keyword baggy for this because that's another popular keyword right now. And these sold for 34 bucks on Posh. All right, next up, this is a newer brand to me. It is Retro Brand by Free People. So keep your eye out for this. Graphic sweatshirts and t-shirts and things like that. This one is a distressed sweatshirt and it sold for 40 bucks. I'll show you this label one more time because, again, I was not familiar with it. All right, this is a boot brand that you definitely want to keep your eye out for. It is Thursday Boot Company. Really great comps on this one, and it tends to sell for a lot. And they make stuff that looks pretty distressed too. So if you come across it and you're like, man, the leather has some discoloration, I think it honestly was made this way. We put scuffs throughout just to make sure to cover ourselves, but this is kind of how the brand looks. Really high quality leather on this. This was called the Duchess Everyday Boot in a size 8 women's, and it sold for $65 pre-owned. So again, definite Bolo brand in the boots I would keep your eye out for. Thursday Boot Company. All right, this is a women's denim wear brand that, if the right factors are there, can perform well. It is Vegas. They have very thick stitching, remind me of BKE or Silver Jeans a little bit. In some other styles, if you can get larger sizes or plus sizes, they sell well. This is the Chelsea bootcut jean in a size 13-14, and they sold for $28 on Posh. This is a newer shoe brand to me, and one I would keep your eye out for. It is Onitsuka Tiger. They make these I think these used to be called kangaroo shoes, but I might be making that up. But they make this style of shoe. Almost all of them look this style, and they're really popular. They have a pretty good following. I listed these pretty high because we did have the box for them. They were new with box, but the box had writing on it. and it sold for $70. I actually picked up, I think, 3 or 4 boxes of these at one place, and they've all sold. So definite bolo to be on the lookout for, and I guess it used to be made by Asics. I'm not sure if they're still making them anymore. All right, this is a designer brand, Amanda Uprichard. I don't have very good luck selling this brand unless it's a specific style, but if you find the right style, it can sell for a lot. So this is the Talon dress, and it sold for $75 on Poshmark. Again, the brand is Amanda Uprichard. All right, this is Wrangler. I think this brand only in specific pieces has made a resurgence. There's some vintage styles that have really increased in value, and there's also some modern women's jeans that are like flare that do really well. I can't remember the style right now. It's not everything in this brand, but it is quite a bit in this brand that is performing well. You just really want to be careful when you look stuff up. But any kind of Wrangler vintage multicolor stripe, like bright multicolor stripe shirt, can perform extremely well, so keep your eye out for it. This one was a cowboy cut, and it was also extra long tail, which means longer length, and it actually says it here as well. Western snap shirt, and we priced this baby high because of the colorway. It sold for $75. We sold a couple of these now close to $100. So if you see anything like this, I would definitely pick it up. All right, this is a newer brand to me. It is Sozy. Pretty good following on this brand. I think it's kind of like an up-and-coming brand. They make comfortable clothing, which is what everybody's into right now. This is a really gorgeous brown long sleeve maxi dress. We listed this for, I think, around $55 or $60. It sold very quickly on an offer for $47. This is a brand I'm going to keep my eye out for as it becomes more and more popular. Sozy. Here's another pair of Pilcro jeans. Again, Anthropologie Pilcro wide leg usually does well for me. These are not wide leg, but they do have some like interesting patchwork details on them, so I thought they would sell well. Look at this price range, same price, $34. So again, Pilcro, Anthropologie, wide leg pants, or something interesting, $30 to $40 all day long on Poshmark. Here's another Old Navy dress. This is a size extra large. I got this one, normally I don't get extra large, but I got this one because it had a very good silhouette, and it was like all over multicolor. It was really gorgeous. We listed this one, I think, for $35 originally, and it ended up selling for $29 on an offer to Watcher. Here's another Y2K brand you could be on the lookout for. It is Juicy Couture, specifically their velour or velvet pieces. This is a velour jacket. We put terry, that is not correct. Should have been velour, but they're track stuff. So like a velour track pants or velour sweatshirt and things like that can perform really well. Some good keywords are Y2K or even brats apparently is a good keyword. That has been helping some stuff like this sell. We listed this, I think, for $50. It sold on an offer to Watcher for $42. Here's another Y2K piece, again with the Abercrombie & Fitch. This is a pair of women's cargo pants. Definite Y2K, definite bolo. If you see anything Abercrombie & Fitch that looks like this, I would get it. Again, 90s Y2K and this brand are performing extremely well. This one did have quite a few holes and wear to it, but I still priced it high because there was that much of a following for it. It ended up selling for $75. I could not believe it. That is a crazy good sale for something in that condition. So keep your eye out for vintage Y2K Abercrombie & Fitch stuff, especially ones that look like this. All right, here's another kind of surprising sale. This is the brand Wilfred, which is sold at Aritzia. This is a pair of dressy high-waisted shorts. Pretty plain, don't normally sell dressy shorts, but good sell-through rate on this, especially on Poshmark. We listed these, I think, for $50, and I think they did sell for our full asking price. I think I think they sold for the price we priced it at, is what I'm trying to say, for 50 bucks. But yeah, Wilfred Aritzia high-waisted dressy shorts can perform well. All right, I'm not going to go too far into this. I just want to share this one more time. Figs scrubs are still selling really well for me. Sometimes you can only get 20, sometimes you can get 25. It really depends on the style, the color, and the size. These were called the Livingston Basic Scrub Pants in a women's size small, and they sold for $35 on Poshmark, which is crazy good. So definitely a scrubs brand to keep your eye out for. This is another high sell-through rates brand. This is Art by Simply Art by Dolcezza. Larger sizes in this perform even better. This is a smaller size, but I still got it. Tunic top, multicolor. Again, kind of an artsy brand is what you want to look for. And this sold for $25. Here's a pair of Madewell jeans. I've really slowed down on the Madewell jeans, but wide leg, flare, straight leg, I'm still keeping my eye out for. You just really have to do your comps with the specific style, the specific size, and sometimes even the color. These ones were the curvy, perfect vintage straight jean, and they were black denim, which I think to help to sell them. Normally, even with all that, I can usually only sell them for 30 to 40. These ones sold for 35. All right, next up, this is a definite Bolo brand. It is Aviator Nation. I pick it up in men's, women's, kids, doesn't matter the size, even if there's pilling. This is a men's graphic t-shirt. I think we listed it originally for $45 and it sold on an offer to watcher for $40. This is a brand that seems to only perform well during this time of the year. It is Barefoot Dreams. So I wouldn't pick it up in like summer and spring, but during winter it can perform well. This is a women's waffle cocoon cardigan in the color brown, which I do feel helped to increase value. It sold for $49 on Poshmark. Here's another Anthropologie Pilcrow item. Again, with Free People in Anthropologie in larger sizes are going to perform well. If it's plus size, I just get it, because it, like, plus size Anthropologie pieces regardless just sell really easily for me. Even if I only get 25 bucks, they're selling quickly. So this is a Pilcrow Anthropologie little denim tank top in a size 3X. It went very quickly for $28 on Poshmark. All right, this is a surprising sale. This is Missoni, which can be a good brand, but this is Missoni for Target. But it was a longer length chevron pattern cardigan in a size extra large, so larger size. And I looked this up. I just had a good gut feeling about it, so I looked it up with chevron, and really great comps for this actually. So we listed it high, even though it was for Target, and it still sold for $42. I feel like $42 is really great for a Target collaboration. So I don't know, keep your eye out for stuff like this. You know, all over chevron detail might be what made that sell. And lastly is another women's denim brand that's still performing well for me, a Goldie. This is the Riley high-rise jean, button fly, cropped in a size 27. They went for $51 on Poshmark. Alright guys, so that's it for what sold last week. I hope that you guys enjoyed watching. I think I'm getting really close to being caught up. Let me know if you guys have missed the videos down below. And if you're not already, don't forget to subscribe down below and hit that notification bell. If you do that, you'll be notified every single time I post these videos. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.